Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Bacha Fahad. My ID number is 171235012. Welcome to our presentation. Our group members. Myself Bacha Fahad. My ID number is 171235012 and Hisam Khan Sajjad. His ID number is 171234923. We are submitting this presentation to our honorable teacher, Shumon Mojumdar, Assistant Professor of Daffodil International University, Department of Textile. So today our presentation topic is greenhouse effects and global warming. So first of all, we have to know what is the definition of greenhouse effect. So the greenhouse effect is a natural process that warms the earth's surface. When the sun energy reaches the earth's atmosphere, some of it is reflected back to space and rest is absorbed and radiated by greenhouse gases. The concept of greenhouse effect came from the greenhouse that is used in the winter countries to keep their house warm. In the winter countries, glass house is used where plants are placed inside the house. So what happened when the sun rays come, the shorter wavelength of sun can enter into the glass house. But this type of short wavelength of sun is absorbed by the plant and it is reflected in longer wavelength, and the longer wavelength of this sun rays cannot pass out through the glass house, and that's why the longer wavelength release the heat inside the atmosphere of the house. That's how the house become warm. So our earth also acts like this type of greenhouse. Our earth has surrounding atmosphere. It has carbon dioxide, it has water vapor, which acts like greenhouse. When the sun rays of the short wavelength come into our house, it is absorbed by our plant. It is absorbed by our plant, but the longer wavelength which is reflected by the plant cannot pass through the atmosphere of the planet Earth. So the release of longer wavelength, the release heat of longer wavelength is placed in the atmosphere of the planet. So our planet becomes arms and arms. So it is a natural process which is very needed, but excessive of heat which is staying in our surrounding, that is not preferable, because this type of excessive heat can damage our environment, and we are showing what are the major effects of excessive heat which is staying in our atmosphere, and what can be happened next. So these are the major effects of greenhouse effects. So major effects are global warming and climate change. As the heat stays in the atmosphere of the planet Earth, so our global becomes warm and warms. So it's a problem. Then rise of sea level. So when the heat stays inside our surrounding environment, our Iceland becomes molten, and hence rise of sea level is occurs. Worsening health effect. This type of warming environment worstly affect our health. Disrupting of water cycle, changing forest and natural areas, challenges to agriculture and food supply, effects on the ozone layer. That is very much need to point it. Ozone layer is degrading by the heated of sun rays. So what would be happen? Ozone layer is a layer which protects us from the ultraviolet rays of sun rays. So this is a protection which is naturally given to us, but we are destroying this type of natural protection by heating our earth excessively. So this should not be happened. And lastly, effects on the oceanic climate. So these are the major greenhouse effects which is done by the global warming. So what are the major causes behind this greenhouse effect? it is need to be mentioned, that is bad greenhouse effect, because greenhouse effect is not always bad. In fact, it is needed for all of us to survive on the planet earth. In the greenhouse effect, it is nothing but a natural process designed by the nature that aids in heating our earth's surface and maintain ecological balance. So excessive heating of earth, it is bad thing, but the heat which is needed for our planet, that is true, and that's why greenhouse effect is not always bad. So excessive heating, that should be avoided. And what are the main reason of excessive heating of our planet earth? The major greenhouse gases responsible for the greenhouse effects are carbon dioxide, ozone gas, methane, and water vapor. These are the major criteria which acts like a greenhouse, and keeps the heat of sun rays and warms our earth. Although these gases comprise 1% of our atmosphere, they act like a thick warm blanket outside the surrounds of the planet and regulate the climate. So our friend Sajjad, Hisham Khan Sajjad, he will be discussing about the causes of greenhouse effect, uh, and the remedies of greenhouse effects. So that's all about my part. Thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
I am MD Isam Khan Sajjad and my bearing ID is on 71234923. At first, I want to give thanks to my respectable teacher for giving me an opportunity to give my presentation. And my presentation topic is greenhouse effect and global warming. Actually, I am discussing about that. Uh, climatologists believe that increasing atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases released by human activities such as burning of fossil fuels and deforestation are warming the world. And the mechanism is commonly known as the greenhouse effect. It's what makes the earth habitable. And actually, we know about the greenhouse. We know about the greenhouse effect. I mean, greenhouse um, gases as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon gases. And actually, my previous friend actually discussed about that, and I am discussing about the mm, uh, sources of activity and how can we control the greenhouse effect and causes of greenhouse effect. These are my topics, and the major greenhouse effects, the greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, ozone, methane, and water vapor gas, and this is very important for our whole world. Greenhouse If the greenhouse gases increases, our whole world is very uh, it is harmful for our whole world. Actually, the major greenhouse gases, although these gases comprise 1% of our atmosphere, they act like a thick warm blanket outside the surrounds of our planet and regulate the gas, regulate the climate. And sources of the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases. Actually, thermal power station based on fossil fuels, mainly coal and mineral water, emitting huge amount of carbon dioxide gas. And numerous factories and industrial chimney wastage and automobiles, deforestation and burning of fossil fuels, and sources of the activity, that's industry, deforestation, fossil agriculture. And this is very important to know about how can we control the greenhouse effect, greenhouse gases, um, and it can affects our environment such as solar radiation warms the world. Gases are energies that emit more radiation. Some of this air returns to Earth's surface, warming it further. This process is we can call greenhouse effect. And for this reason, it can be happen global warming. Global warming is very important uh, for our generation, and the sea level can be raised, and there are many problems can be happened in our with our and actually we have to follow about the how can we reduce the greenhouse effect, energy conservation, rising of the cost of fuels, developing new energy production, for forest protection, anti-pollution measures. International conferences is very important to control the greenhouse effect. And I am telling about the control of greenhouse effect. That is the most important carbon market, reduction of use of chlorofluorocarbon gas. Water logging should be avoided. Afforestation and reforestation on a large scale. Advanced and efficient technologies for reducing emissions from fossil fuels. Alternate sources of energy are to be used, and this thing we have to follow more and more. This is very important thing for our generation, because if we cannot control that, our generation will be destroyed. So this is very important to our, and thanks to my respectable teacher for giving me the opportunity about researching about that matter. Thank you.